Hey everyone, it has been a hot minute since I have done a live video. I obviously chat with you guys on stories every single day, my podcast, my YouTube channel, but it's been a while since I've gone live. I just wanted to come on live today. I have a little bit of time before my day starts and honestly just check in with you guys. Like, how's January been going? Hey Sky. For us, we had COVID last week and the weather has been horrendous. And I know for a lot of you, you're also dealing with viruses and terrible weather. And maybe January just hasn't started the way that we would have wanted. Maybe we're still struggling to kind of get into that routine. We sort of said, January 1st, we're really going to hit the ground running with getting our life back in order, right? The routine from winter break, our sleep, our energy, our alcohol consumption, our coffee consumption or caffeine, our nutrition, our exercise, our steps, whatever it might be for you, if it's, one or more of those things. And that hasn't happened yet. So number one, it will happen. It felt like January 45th, about 3 days ago, and the kids have been in school for 3 days. And within that time, things have felt significantly better for us around here. So it's coming for you too if you're not there yet. Secondly, my friend Carrie Manti always kind of has this little phrase that she says of just start. It doesn't have to be perfect. Even if we don't have the perfect meal prep, we don't have the gym at our disposal right now, any of those things, just start. Just start somewhere with getting a few steps, cleaning up your diet a little and eating a little bit of protein if that's you, going to bed an hour earlier, whatever that looks like. I think that can be a really big help, and just remember that momentum begets momentum. So start slow, pick a couple, 1 to 2 things to really work on, and then keep going. So I think that's something that I wanted to share with you guys today. And then also, this was the real reason that I hopped on. So last night, I shared something on my stories, this little quote card that was it's not about managing your emotions, it's about managing your reactions to emotions. And this is a conversation that I have with people all the time. So I want to remind you that when we're talking about hormone health, right? So we're talking about low progesterone, we're talking about digestive issues, we're talking about sleep issues, anxiety, feeling snappy and irritable, we're talking about irregular periods or really bad PMS symptoms, things like that, spotting. We're talking about chronic pain and headaches and all of the different things kind of head to toe that can happen. There's a lot of reasons that those imbalances can start to happen, but one of the primary places that I like to start with my patients is with the stress response. And I know stress is a buzzy, kind of annoying topic because you're yeah, I'm stressed. I have a stressful job. The kids are stressful. We're overwhelmed. We're going place to place with them. My relationship's not great and there's nothing I can do. I want to remind you a few things. It's not always about the stressors that are the problem. It's more, like I mentioned, your reaction to the stress. So the reason that this is really important is because when our body is under chronic stress, and this can be anything from perfectionism, people pleasing, the urgency culture. So I know a lot of people, and I was like this at one point too, when you get an email, it's just other people's sort of emergencies or urgency becomes your urgency. Urgency heightens the nervous system up. Lack of boundaries, always being that yes person, always being the responsible person, toxic relationships, overwhelm, not getting enough downtime, sleep, self-care type of stuff. These things are all modern day why so many women are feeling the way that we are. Exhausted, have a hard time sleeping, want to kind of do the empty self-care where we just after the kids go to bed, it's just oh my gosh, the day's over. We just scroll. We feel snappy. We feel gosh, I don't even like who I am right now. I feel puffy. I just don't even like this. And so this nervous system is a huge reason that people struggle with feeling that way. Again, nutrition, exercise, sleep, digestion, all of that stuff plays a role. But the first pillar that we got to attack is your stress response. When your stress response is always activated, your brain is always okay, we got to scan this environment for all the threats and dangers, and we really are hyper vigilant here because the world doesn't feel very safe to us, or our world doesn't feel very safe. You're gonna create more cortisol, more adrenaline, more of those stress chemicals. And when your body's in the stress response, more than it should be, right? Because this is created by our ancestors evolutionarily to get away from bears and wild animals, and then they got a full-on break from this. We don't really get breaks from it, a lot of us anyways. And so when your body is constantly in this fight or flight, freeze or fawn response, it compensates with your body. So for example, our pupils dilate, certain things in our brain happen, blood pressure increases, we get more glucose to our muscles to fight, to flee, to keep ourselves safe. But when that's happening, other things also happen, like you produce less bile acids and enzymes in your GI tract. So bloating, constipation, diarrhea, nutrient malabsorption start to happen. Your microbiome changes. We can start noticing that gut health stuff. Your thyroid starts to be impacted. Your minerals balance in your body starts to be impacted. Your body doesn't make as much progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, your detoxing is impacted, your blood circulation, your blood pressure, chronic pain and inflammation, your immune system. So we can start to see that a lot of people come to me with like this laundry list of things that are going on that they don't feel so great with, but it's actually kind of, if we peel the layers apart, it comes down to your body's stressed a lot. You're running on stress chemicals all day, every day, and I can relate. I was like that too. And so how do you fix that, right? That's always the magic question of like, how do you do this? And there's all kinds of people that promote their own ideas, their own things, such as cold plunging, certain diets, certain supplements, adaptogenic herbs, certain detox protocols, meditation. There's all these things. And it's not that any of those things are inherently wrong or right by themselves, but we have to be able to teach our brain that the world is safe, right? Because your brain reacts when it's in danger. And so one of the biggest places that I've learned in my own life that my brain felt unsafe was the fact that I was not managing the response to my emotions. And so I have this conversation with a lot of patients too. But for example, when you feel anger and you're like, I feel so angry, but you should just be grateful for what you have. It's not that big of a deal. Just stop thinking about it. Get over it. You're gaslighting yourself out of it. Your brain realizes, hey, anger is a pretty scary emotion. And especially if you grew up in a household that like anger was actually a scary emotion and you were a child that, had a sibling or a parent or a teacher or somebody that anger was kind of scary, you learn like, hey, that's a scary thing. Like, let's not do that. And so when you feel it, then we sort of gaslight ourselves out. The same thing can go for sadness, grief, worry, fear, anxiety, resentment, any of these things. They feel very uncomfortable inside of us. They have biology, feelings have feelings, and we tend to resist them, modify them, push them away, gaslight ourselves out of them, etc. And when we do that, we're teaching our brain that those things are dangerous. And so stress management is not about managing the stress and putting these stressors in little boxes and things like that. It's way more about managing your response to what your stress is. And so one of the, there's a lot of theories and strategies for this, but one of the biggest things that I recommend starting with is this idea of passive acceptance. It doesn't mean that you're accepting other people's terrible behavior or you're just kind of like laying down and dying and letting yourself be a doormat. That's in fact the polar opposite. Passive acceptance is accepting basically what is, right? So if we're having a really stressful day, it's not like, I'm stressed and I hate this and I want this to go away and stress is so bad for me and it's, impacting my health. It's saying, okay, this is a stressful situation. I'm having a stressful day. I've got this. I can handle it. We are okay, but it is stressful. Same thing with anxiety. Okay, my brain, anxiety is like a fire alarm in your kitchen. It's an alarm signal for you. Okay, we're feeling anxious today. Thanks, brain, for trying to protect me. I understand that you're feeling threatened or like there's a danger. We're safe. You can look around your environment, tell your brain that you're safe, and just say if you need to be there, fine, you can be there. Same thing with sadness. It feels so uncomfortable, you guys, any of these emotions. But the more that we resist, the more that persists. So if you're saying you're feeling really sad today and you're just like, gosh, it's like the 6th day that I felt really, really sad today and this is really miserable, let yourself feel sad. Specifically if there's a situation in your life that's really sad, let yourself feel the sadness. It's a dreary time of year right now too. It can be common to feel a little bit of SAD. Of course, no one wants anything impactful to quality of life, but when we resist what we're truly feeling in here, it will persist and your body will carry that around. It will activate that fight or flight for you and keep you stuck in this cycle. And so what I encourage you to do today is, if you get mad, if you feel sad, if you feel anxious, instead of forcing those things away and pushing them, start to practice a little bit of passive acceptance. And it can make it easier if you do a little bit of like somatic tracking, where you kind of like, almost like you're describing a picture on the wall, you describe it to yourself. Okay, my chest feels heavy, it feels tight, it feels hot, it feels cold, it feels sinking, and you're not freaking out, you're not pushing it away, modifying it, repressing it, you're just accepting, okay, this is here today, this is what it is. And then your body will start to realize that it's not dangerous. You have the capacity to process it and feel it, and you're safe in doing that. So that's kind of like a basic of what I do with my patients in Heal Your Hormones Masterclass. I talk a lot about mindset because our mindset is how we work on our nervous system. Like I mentioned, there's other physical lifestyle modalities to do, but in my opinion, stress management has a lot to do with thought management and managing what we're thinking, how we're responding to things. Are we giving ourselves these messages of dangers like, oh my God, this is so bad, make this go away, I'm uncomfortable, I can't stand this, I can't handle this? Or are we saying, okay, this is what's here today, we're okay, this is here. And passively accepting it, deep breathing, slowing yourself down, giving yourself these messages of safety, like you're in a safe place instead of being chased by a wild animal. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Like I said, I do this with my patients all the time. I talk about it in all my digital courses. I talk about it very frequently on the Allie Damron Show podcast. So if this is something that you feel like is keeping you stuck, you're having these symptoms that are just kind of relentless, you do detoxes, you do protocols, you change your diet, you do these things, but still just have kind of these symptoms that are a little bit frustrating and relentless, this is probably an area that we need to look at. So I'm here for you guys. DM me if you need anything. I offer free 15-minute consults for anyone who's interested in working together. I also have a training all about this. So if this sort of sparked a nerve for you today, go to alliedamron.com/training, and it talks about how this nervous system dysregulation stress response actually is one of the major reasons that women continue to struggle with these annoying, frustrating symptoms that we get specifically in perimenopause. So you can go there. I'm here. You can DM me anytime as well. I'll talk to you guys soon.